Okay guys, if you take a look up at the screen, you will see information up here regarding your safety quiz that you're taking today. It is a quiz, it's not open note or anything like that, and it is online. So I do need you to get out your Chromebooks or your personal computer if that's what you're choosing to use. And I need you to make your way to Schoology. You're going to find the quiz in Schoology in the Unit 1 folder titled 101 Lab Safety Quiz. And again, you're taking it independently. So you should not have out your safety guide or anything like that. It's not open note. It is a district expectation that you make a 100% on this quiz. Now, that might not happen the first time, although I hope it does. Hopefully you take it, you get 100, you're done. However, if you take this quiz and you make a 90, you now have to take this quiz again until you make a 100, because the district wants to make sure that you are demonstrating that you have 100% knowledge of lab safety expectations and the rules in the classroom. So hopefully you only have to take it once, maybe twice, but you do have to take it until you make a 100 on it. If you do happen to finish that relatively quickly, then you are welcome to go ahead and start looking at the homework assignment that you have for tonight, which you're going to find in the Unit 1 folder, and it is the assignment is 102 problem sets, and you're looking specifically at this one. If you look underneath the homework, it says 102.1. Identifying variables problem set. So there's a tab. It's actually a Google Sheet, and there's a tab down there that says that. So if you finish early, I would recommend that you do that. We do have other work to do in class today, an activity called the Checks Lab, which we will get to. That's the assignment for today after you finish the safety quiz. But for right now, I need everybody to, again, make their way to Schoology in order to access that safety quiz. And then you're going to take it until you make 100. I'll give you 25 minutes or so. That should be enough time for at least 90% of you to be done with it. And then I'll talk a little bit more about that Checks Lab. But if you're waiting in the meantime, I would recommend going ahead and taking a look at that homework assignment while you wait. If you have any questions or if you're having any technical difficulties accessing the safety quiz, please let me know. All right, so today we're going to be working on what is called the Checks Lab. And it's not a traditional lab in terms of like a hands-on where you're measuring things like we might do in some of our labs later on in the year. It's more of a discussion and an analysis of data. But it's a chance for you to talk to the people you're sitting with in order to come up with tentative explanations about what is happening in the lives of the people who wrote these checks. They're like physical paper checks, and there's scanned copies of them. This lab was designed by 2 university professors and has been used in introductory freshman science courses at various universities. And again, it's designed to help you guys understand the idea that science is built on evidence that can be observed or deduced from the natural world. And so you're going to be looking at what can you see, what can you deduce, what can you infer from that information. Okay, so your task is going to be to read all of the instructions in the Google Sheet assignment, which I'm going to pull up on my screen in just a second so that you can take a look at what it looks like. But the assignment is titled 102.2 Checks Lab. And it has a lot of information in it. Sorry, I didn't mean to pull it up just yet. But you're going to be figuring out an explanation for what is occurring in the lives of the people that wrote these checks. So in this assignment, the ones that you're able to see. Please note that you will have the entire class period tomorrow to work on this as well. This is not homework. You do have a homework assignment, but it's not this. So let me go ahead and show you now what this looks like. Some of you may already have it opened up. If so, awesome. But you're going to open it and it's going to look like this. It has a spot on the very first tab for you to type in your student ID number. So before you do anything else, please go ahead and type in your S number, all 6 digits, no S. And if you do that, it should automatically fill in your name. Okay, so I'm using mine as an example, but when you type in your ID, it should automatically fill in your first and last name. It should automatically fill in this class period, all of that. And you need to make sure that you do that before you continue on with the rest of the assignment. If for some reason it's not working or pulling it in, there have been a lot of schedule changes. So if it lists you with the wrong teacher, since it's the second day of school and some people are getting shuffled around already, or something like that, or if it's not working at all, please double check your ID number first, but then you can raise your hand and tell me in a minute. But at the bottom of this assignment, there are some tabs. So the first tab after this score tab says 102.1. This is your homework assignment for tonight that I was talking about a minute ago. Maybe you've already done it because you finished your lab safety quiz early. But it has some information that you can review, and all of this should be reviewed from prior science classes. And then it has some questions for you to answer. And you'll notice there's a spot for you to actually submit things in a Google form. The reason for that is because I don't want you submitting the sheet. If you submit the sheet, you can't edit the sheet, and there are 3 different assignments on here. So unfortunately, because the district has restricted our use of a different website that we used to use for this, we're having to add in extra steps, and it's not as efficient, but we're going to get it done, and you should just be able to copy paste your answers over. So that is there. Make sure that you turn in the Google form so that I know that you did it by the due date. So again, 102.1 is the homework. 102.2 is your assignment today. 102.3 is for later. Don't worry about that one yet. But it says checks lab investigation. So if you're on the correct screen, you should see a yellow background and it should say checks lab at the top. You guys are going to be working in groups for this assignment. So I am going to be assigning you a group number, and you'll be selecting that group number from this drop down. So you need to wait just a second to do that in order for me to actually group you. And then once you've done that, you have a lot of information here that you need to read through in order to complete this assignment. So your goal for today is going to be to complete the first 3 tentative explanations for the lab during this class period, and to cite evidence in all of your explanations. You're going to be looking at, like I said, some handwritten checks, and there's 3 different spots for you to write a tentative explanation, because you're going to start out with just a couple of checks. And you need to look at those and say, okay, here's what I think is happening in these people's lives. Here's the explanation I can come up with. And then you're going to get some more information. And maybe that information confirms what you already thought, but maybe it doesn't. And so you might have to write a different explanation. But it's a tentative explanation because it could change, so it's tentative. So that's what you're doing in there, and you can stop after tentative explanation number 3 because the rest of this assignment is meant to be done in class tomorrow. There are some questions that can be answered below that, and it tells you that in the instructions, but we won't be finished with this until the end of the period tomorrow, or at least partway through. Okay, so that is what you're going to be working on. So I'm going to come around the room right now and assign you to a group. And then you'll need to select that group number from the drop down so that the checks will actually fill into your sheet, because if you don't pick your group number, you won't be able to see anything whenever you get down here. That'll look like this. Okay, so I'm going to come around and tell you, and then you guys can get started. Again, just read everything carefully, go through it, and make sure that you're having those discussions with your neighbor. You're not done yet, but I just wanted to remind you that you do have a homework assignment tonight, and that is, again, this one right here, 102.1, identifying variables problem set. So please don't forget about that. It's the other tab to the left of the one you're working on right now. If you didn't make it through tentative explanation number 3, again, hopefully you can finish that before you leave. If not, you may have to start there tomorrow whenever you come in, or look at it on your own whenever you get home. But go ahead and continue talking. I just wanted to remind you of these things I need to get signed from you. I did get everything into the Schoology course, so if you were looking for information on how to get the safety contract signed, or the syllabus acknowledgement, I did forget to put it in there yesterday afternoon. It is in there now, though. It was the first thing I did this morning. So make sure that you get those taken care of. And again, if you still have your K letter, you can bring it up here. Okay, so again, We do have about, 3 minutes now, so try to get it finished up. If not, you may have a little bit extra to work on either tonight or tomorrow whenever you come in here.